Hi, in reading Robert Stamm and Louise Spence, Studies of Feeling Colonialism and Racism, I thought that there was a main thesis statement that said, at times a flaw in the nemesis derives not from the presence of distorting stereotypes, but from the absence of representations of an oppressed group. So what I thought was that representation does matter, and that was really I think the focus of the reading, and say, if representation was shown from their viewpoint, the viewpoint of the other, then the space wouldn't be filled with distorting stereotypes. So what happened was they talked about how, by 1900, 85% of the world was colonized by Europe, and that the European colonizers were also the ones behind the camera and in front of the camera. So until that time, until now, they are making most of that space in the media world, and where others are not, and then they are being shown either as hostile distortation or as affection and condensation, how the colonizers are treated in the media. And so I think it's significant because we all watch TV, so it affects everybody. So, if you're a white male and you're seeing yourself on TV so much, then you're just securing your place, concreting your place where you think it is in society. And if you're not seeing yourself on the screen, then it's like you're looking for that representation, and that representation is being either filled incorrectly or not at all. And so, are the assumptions in the argument persuasive? I think so. There's a number of quotes in here that were really good. One of them was affirming our sense of power affirming our sense of power and the inhabitants of the third world objects of spectacle for the first world's voyeurism gaze. And they talked about the process of colonial image making. So the person behind the camera is putting themselves in front of the camera to be seen. And so this is kind of making everybody seem like they are the focal point of society. And that's basically, continuing along white supremacy. And so, let's see, what else was a good thing? Europe constructs its self-image on the backs of equally constructed other. And so what I thought about that was, the one behind the camera is making themselves the one, and they're making the others the other by not even giving them representation or showing them incorrectly. Is it advancing equality of freedom? Yes, it's showing us that there's definitely a need for this advancement, and for us to all kind of be reflective of what we're seeing on TV. Are the conclusions consequential? Yes, we all need to be seen on TV, and that way we can all have an equal place in society. And if we're not seeing that, then that needs to change. And so, I pulled up the UCLA. Okay, let me talk about that after. Is the argument consistent? It's kind of vague because unless you're in Hollywood, you're not really seeing his examples or understanding examples. So basically the examples they gave was compare this movie to this movie. You can see what happened. So one of the examples was how Hollywood portrays Black churches as fun, singing, dancing events. And they're not really showing the resistance or revolutionary forces that created it. So it's just showing, and their arguments showed movies. So unless you were a Hollywood person and you actually watch these movies, their arguments wouldn't really mean anything to you. So I thought, and what would make it more important was if you made these into numbers. So that's why I looked into the UCLA 2021 Hollywood diversity report. And in 2021, it showed that most show creators were white, 90%, 9.8 were minorities. 75% of show creators were male, and 24% were female. There's a little difference between that and digital, digital was 29% female. Cable scripted 79% male. So when you look at these 79% male, 71% male, 90% white, you're seeing this pattern of white male basically owning behind the camera these days still. So, and that kind of is about the same average as you saw 1900. 85% of the world was colonized by Europeans. So Europeans, I mean, this colonization has really taken over our media, our TV, our movies. And so I think it's really important to know that. And so there can be a change. We really need representation, and not just token parts. Really need to make some change because representation matters. Okay, and another point that the author made was racism is not permanently inscribed in celluloid or in the human mind. It forms part of a constantly changing dialectical process. So how can we really change racism when all you're seeing everywhere is just the white male? So that's my part of the Stinger's oral presentation, and sorry I couldn't be there, but I think Stam and Carlson were really up to something, and I would just basically only put more numbers behind their argument so that everybody can understand it a little bit more. Otherwise, I thought it was a really good reading.